Now in his 7th season in the Prem and his 6th as a Manchester United regular, Marcus Rashford should be regarded as one of the team's rare success stories over their tumultuous last decade, but at present, the Englishman is far from flying. The 24-year-old spent the opening months of the season sidelined with injury after playing 65 games in 2020-21, a tally beaten by only 14 players in world football. And since returning to the squad, he's struggled to make an impact on a side grappling with Ralf Rangnick's pressing game and increasingly built to serve Cristiano Ronaldo. Though he's not the only one, with Wan-Bissaka, Bruno and Sancho also notable underperformers at present, Rashford has become the poster boy for a team which has lost its way and has sunk from second place last term to outsiders for a Champions League berth. So what is going on with Rashford? Is there a deeper problem in his game? And how can United help him rediscover his form? On today's FD Explained, we're examining a stuttering star. Perhaps the most successful story Manchester United's hierarchy have spun in the media over the last decade has been one about bad apples. Since Alex Ferguson departed, every manager has been blamed for the team's underperformance, as well as a slew of players from Di Maria to Pogba to Sanchez to Maguire to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Of course, there remains the animosity towards the Glazers, and Ed Woodward was never a popular chief executive. But despite the club's apparent focus on commercial success and the owner's sticky fingers in United's wallet, the team has always had more than enough money and resources to succeed, and its failure to do so is an institutional one, not the fault of any individual, and especially not a player. However, Marcus Rashford has become an easy shorthand for the club's decline, and it's not like the numbers say anything different. At the time of writing, the England international is on course for his poorest return in a league season, grabbing 3 goals and assists in 11 appearances so far for 1 every 200 minutes, a rate which even if he played every single game would only yield 17 goal involvements over the year. And it's made all the more shocking by the fact that last year the Mancunian hit 11 and assisted 9 in league play, passing the 20 barrier for the second successive season. However, those numbers were boosted by some great finishing from Rashford's teammates, who netted 9 goals from chances worth only around 3.6 xg, and if they'd scored at the rate predicted by the stats, Rashford would have ended up with just 13 goal involvements, suggesting this slide has been going on for a while. But even if you take the optimistic view, beneath the surface, Rashford's stats are still troubling. He's taking 1.8 shots a game and creating 0.9 chances, both the worst marks of his career, and the shots he does get are less valuable than ever before, averaging 0.1 xg per attempt, just below league average. That adds up to an overall xg per 90 of 0.34, again his worst mark ever, down from 0.4 last season, and about the same as Chris Wood or Marcus Alonso. He's also not adding a huge amount out of possession. Rashford completes only about 1 defensive action per game, fewer than any player at Manchester City except for Edinson, and is a substandard presser too. And while he's still putting up dribbles with about 2 take-ons a match, he's getting worse at it, with a 48% success rate this campaign, the first time he's dipped below 50 since he was a teenager. Given that he's still just 24, it's a shocking downturn in form and comes at the worst possible time for United, as Arsenal, West Ham and Tottenham seem all to have found successful formulas. But if that's the how, what's the why? Maybe we were wrong before and the most successful narrative in football is actually the one about players getting soft. Anytime a star complains about fixture congestion, you can reliably predict a raft of critics in the replies, pointing out that they'd happily play 3 games a week for their side in return for millions of pounds. But while fatigue may not spark your sympathy, it does go some way to explaining Rashford's sudden dip. Twitter user @Luorns has crunched the numbers to compare Rashford's minutes at a young age to other stars who made early breakthroughs, and the results are sobering. While there are several players around the winger's tally of 21,000 minutes by the age of 24 who went on to have long careers, there are also plenty who burned out young. Neymar hasn't played more than 1,800 league minutes in a season since he left Barcelona. Dele Alli is heading out the back door at White Hart Lane at 25 years old. Eden Hazard was cooked on his arrival in Madrid at 28. Owen flamed out early, and Raheem Sterling is accused of decline every single year. So is Rashford's exhaustion surprising? As Luorns points out, Rashford has already played more than 50 games in 5 different seasons, while Giggs and Rooney only did so twice in their whole careers. And when you factor in the attacker's injury issues, the drop-off becomes not just understandable, but almost inevitable. Since the beginning of 2020, the Englishman has missed over 250 days to injury, with the most serious a shoulder complaint which went untreated for almost the duration of 2020-21, resulting in the player himself demanding that he be allowed to have surgery and sit out the beginning of the current campaign, according to the BBC. That decision was met with sneers in some corners, but as a lifelong United fan, Rashford wasn't simply sitting on the sofa during his time out, but dedicated himself to returning as fit and prepared as possible. The Athletic claiming that he underwent a grueling training regimen of 3 sessions a day, and even used an oxygen chamber to build up his cardiovascular capacity during the layoff. None of this prevented the most cynical attacks on the player, with Mark Ogden of ESPN citing United sources as keen for Rashford to spend a period of time focusing on regaining his form at the expense of raising the issues of child hunger, homelessness and poverty in the United Kingdom. A disgusting read of the situation which, in typical fashion for the current United, failed to take any responsibility for the club's part in his woes. Having played himself into the ground for his side, Rashford has been hung out to dry for daring to care about anything beyond the 4 walls of Old Trafford. And after all, which Red Devils are thriving right now? One problem with Manchester United's attack, and especially for Rashford, is that almost all their wide talent is basically the same. With Jesse Lingard refusing to agree new terms and due an exit, and Jadon Sancho struggling for form, the team's senior wide men are Martial, Greenwood and Rashford, all of whom are primarily goal scorers deployed on the flank, rather than conventional wingers who can beat a man or pick a pass. Over the last year, Martial ranks in the bottom 6% of wingers for chance creation, Greenwood is in the bottom 8%, and Rashford is in the bottom 21%, while all are in the top half of players in their position for shots. And when you add in Cavani and Ronaldo, as well as the offence-minded midfield pair of Pogba and Bruno, you have 7 players who make over 1.5 attempts on goal per 90 minutes, and a team which has an average shot distance of 17.6 yards out, the 6th worst in the Premier League. In an attack so skewed towards self-centered glory hunting, it's no surprise that Rashford cannot find his best form. Rather than bursting into the box to finish moves, he's too often dropping further down the field as United attempt to speed up their turgid ball progression or cover for the lethargic legs of their 2 elderly centre forwards. And that means that only 66% of his touches are coming in the final third and the box at present, compared to 74% in each of the last 2 seasons. There are a few ways for this to improve. The first is that if Rangnick is going to play Ronaldo, he can only play one of Cavani, Rashford and Greenwood. Any more unbalances the attack, reduces United's ability to build play and weakens their defensive structure when possession is lost, putting more pressure on their central midfield, the weakest area of the first 11. The second is for Sancho to locate his talent and quickly. Even if we accept the existence of the famed Bundesliga tax, Sancho's output in Germany was so good that he could afford to lose a third of it and still be one of the league's best creative wingers. Last term, the youngster laid on 3 chances a game, completed 4 dribbles, and ranked in the top 1% of players for progressive passes and balls into the penalty area, making him the perfect foil to United's bevy of off-ball runners. And it's not just his skills which would benefit Rashford, as a fully fit Sancho would force teams to double up on the right, opening space on the opposite side for late runs into the danger zone. Rashford's best hope may lie with his international teammate. No doubt some people will see any explanation as an excuse, but as we've seen, there are good reasons for Rashford's decline, and more importantly, no reason to expect that it will go uncorrected. Whatever your feelings about the player, his commitment to the cause is exceptional, and whoever comes in as manager in the summer should finally provide the structure and guidance the forward needs. If he can regain full fitness and get regular starts in a balanced attack, Rashford is simply too talented to underperform forever. And if a Pochettino, Ten Hag, or Inzaghi can develop the Englishman into the player he promised to be as a teen, United may finally begin their long overdue return to the top. So that's our take on Marcus Rashford's situation at Manchester United, but which manager do you think is best placed to revive his career in the summer? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.